Today is August 20th, 2026. This is an AI-generated overview of a partial daily research collection, and it requires human review before publication or decision-making. 22 paper analyses were included, but the collection was not complete. The strongest theme is reliability beyond headline success. Whether generated media complete the requested task, agents pass external checks, robot policies avoid hidden physical failures, and long-horizon systems remain effective after early gains fade.
Video generation offers the clearest example. SemComp Bench separates visual reliability from actual outcome achievement. On a 60-case subset, one model achieved about 92% generation reliability, but only 20% outcome achievement. The best outcome score was 37.8%. Those are measured benchmark results, not proof about all video generators. Only 60 of more than 1,200 instances were tested. One video was sampled per condition, and scoring depended on one vision language model family without reported human validation.
The same measurement lesson appears in embodied control. Soft VT Bench found that ordinary task success could conceal excessive deformation of soft objects. In every one of 12 in-distribution configurations, deformation-aware success was lower than terminal success, and one comparison actually reversed the ranking between two policies. A separate latent world model study found nearly identical probe scores despite push-T control success ranging from 49.3 to 92.7%. The editorial inference is that plausible representations and completed episodes can both hide decision-relevant failures.
That inference is supported by the reported contrasts, but the evidence is bounded. Both studies were simulation-based, and several configurations had only one training run. In the World Model Study, action-conditioned training improved global ranking of candidate plans and raised success across 4 simulated tasks. Yet correlations among the elite plans considered near the end of search remained around 0. So the method improved measured control, but it did not solve the narrower problem of accurately ranking the final, closely matched candidates.
A second major theme is moving trust outside the model. Zeta wraps frozen robot policies with runtime critics, recovery procedures, and validation. Reported macro success rose from 73.6 to 93.6% in RoboCasa, and from 32 to 71.1% in Libero Pro. But these are simulator results, and the paper's separate 90.8% headline is not reconciled with the overall table. That inconsistency should remain visible rather than being averaged away.
SEMA PLC applies a related pattern to industrial control code. Generated programs must survive specification checks, compilation, and live runtime tests. Across 65 project tasks, its runtime score was 52.2 versus 22.4 to 31.4 for baselines. Reliability was expensive. In one ablation, requests increased from 8.9 to 47.8, and token use from 34,000 to 129,000 per task. The measured gain, therefore, comes with a substantial interaction and compute cost.
OmniScientist also uses deterministic gates for evidence, statistics, provenance, and claims, while bounded agents constrains what delegated agents are authorized to do. These controls are complementary. One checks whether conclusions are supported, while the other limits actions. OmniScientist completed 36 papers with its strongest tested backbone, but its principal perception comparison covered only 5 paired cases and used model judges. Bounded agents reduced evaluated exfiltration attacks to 0 in selected suites, while direct harm attacks remained 60.4% in another evaluation.
Self-generated supervision followed 2 routes. Co-RL rewarded models using majority answers from independently trained peers. Its strongest, reported 3 billion parameter cross-family setting, improved 7 benchmark averages from 40.7 to 49.3 for one model, and from 38.7 to 43.9 for another. Spade instead trained a solver alongside a designer of executable environments. At its largest tested scale, the reasoning average reached 58.3, 8.1 above the base. Spade's supplied analysis was itself partial because source material was truncated.
These results suggest that diverse peers and adaptive environments can replace some fixed labels, but they do not isolate every cause. In CORL, model family, architecture, pre-training, and competence may vary together. In SPADE, some controls also changed memory or designer identity. Both methods were evaluated where answers or rewards could be mechanically checked. Open questions include how they behave with weak or adversarial peers, ambiguous answers, faulty environment validators, and longer training runs that might reveal saturation rather than open-ended improvement.
Tool use shows another useful split: computation versus credit assignment. Looped language models gave some tokens more recurrent processing. On a controlled small llama comparison, overall function calling accuracy rose from 21.4 to 32.9%, with larger gains on parallel calls, though some simple call scores declined. Skillgate separately rewarded the decision to select a skill. Across 385 trials, pooled success rose from 47 to 53.2%, with a clustered confidence interval supporting a positive repeated trial difference.
Neither study establishes deployment readiness. Looped models were tested in static single-turn settings, and native model comparisons mix recurrence with pre-training differences. Skillgate had one training run and assumed exactly one known correct skill, excluding abstention and multiple valid choices. A concrete follow-up would combine recurrent computation, selection-specific credit, and executable verification in the same failure-prone workflow, then measure verified success, recovery, selector mistakes, calls, tokens, latency, and performance across repeated training seeds.
Targeted synthetic data also outperformed undirected expansion in the reported settings. A genre-guided writing corpus improved 2 creative writing scores and broadened reported genre coverage, but evaluation was mostly model-judged, synthetic, and English only. Hotfixer generated multilingual examples around measured student weaknesses. It improved mean in-distribution performance by 4.3% and won all 9 listed model task comparisons. Yet average out-of-distribution performance remained 0.9% below the unfine-tuned base. Targeting helped locally. Broader transfer remains unresolved.
Post-hoc detectors offered promising reliability layers without changing the production model. Temporal fusion raised token-level hallucination AUC from 0.73 to 0.84 on a retrieval-augmented generation dataset, although span F1 remained only 0.394, and bidirectional inference is offline. A structured detector for out-of-distribution objects sharply reduced false positive rates within its calibrated protocols. Those numbers must not be compared directly. The tasks, modalities, and metrics differ, even though both systems combine several signals in a separate detector.
Several specialized results deserve careful framing. A retrosynthesis model led the reported plausibility scores on 100 targets, but the same evaluator family shaped training rewards and primary evaluation, with no wet lab validation. A model lineage method achieved perfect separation in controlled, compatible architecture benchmarks, yet requires white box access and cannot establish ownership or descent direction. Rapid LiDAR reported 1/10 of a second per scan on a desktop graphics processor, faster than its comparison system, but that does not demonstrate real-time operation on embedded vehicle hardware.
Long horizons create their own illusion. In a 20-year football management simulation, the Year 5 ranking correlated only 0.19 with the final order. Behaviors such as earlier contract renewal, lower idle cash, and reduced late investment were associated with stronger outcomes, but these are correlations across a small model set, not causal findings. The competitive arena used one shared seed. Useful follow-ups would intervene on those policies directly, repeat the arena across worlds, and test whether any managerial lessons transfer beyond the synthetic football setting.
The concise takeaway is that this partial daily run favors systems that measure the property that actually matters and place verification around model outputs. Yet many gains rely on simulations, small subsets, model judges, proxy metrics, or single training runs. The priority questions are human and physical validation, replication across training seeds, adversarial testing outside bounded scenarios, local decision quality measurement, and matched evaluations of accuracy against compute and utility costs. For paper-level details and links, consult the linked daily summary.